Scattered across vast oceans, a handful of remote islands sit atop the planet's most violent, restless, and unpredictable geological forces. Formed by continuous volcanic activity where the North American and Eurasian plates pull apart, Iceland grows wider every year. Geysers, glacier, and lava fields coexist across its rugged terrain, creating a stark subarctic landscape. Frequent eruptions, like Age of Geologically and Fagradalsfjall, remind the world of its restless crust. Geothermal energy powers most homes, while sparse vegetation and hardy wildlife define an ecosystem shaped entirely by fire and ice. As the Pacific plate slowly drifts, magma rising from a fixed mantle hotspot repeatedly punctures the crust, birthing new islands over millions of years. Kilauea remains one of the most active volcanoes on Earth, continuously reshaping coastlines with fresh lava flows. Tropical rainforests, black sand beaches, and unique endemic species thrive here. Native Hawaiian culture reveres these volcanoes as living deities, deeply woven into island identity and tradition. Positioned where the Indo-Australian, Pacific, and Eurasian plates converge, Indonesia experiences some of the planet's most explosive volcanic activity. Krakatau's infamous 1883 eruption reshaped global climate, while Anak Krakatau continues rising from the sea today. Dense rainforests, coral reefs, and extraordinary biodiversity flourish despite constant seismic risk. Millions of Indonesians live near active volcanoes, relying on fertile volcanic soil for agriculture while remaining vulnerable to sudden eruptions. Vanuatu sits above the New Hebrides subduction zone, where the Australian plate slides beneath the Pacific plate, generating frequent eruptions and earthquakes. Mount Yesur has erupted continuously for centuries, drawing visitors to its glowing crater. Tropical forests and coral coastlines surround volcanic peaks, supporting unique island ecosystems. Indigenous communities maintain spiritual connections to the volcano, viewing its constant activity as a powerful ancestral presence guiding daily life. Rising from a hotspot beneath the Nazca Plate, the Galápagos Islands are geologically young, with several volcanoes still highly active today. Isolation allowed unique species like giant tortoises and marine iguanas to evolve separately from mainland relatives. Sierra Negra remains one of the most active volcanoes in the archipelago. Cool ocean currents create an unusual blend of tropical and temperate conditions, sustaining remarkably diverse and fragile island ecosystems. Situated along the Ring of Fire, Japan sits where the Pacific, Philippine Sea, Eurasian, and North American plates interact violently. Sakurajima erupts almost daily, blanketing nearby Kagoshima in ash. Frequent earthquakes and tsunamis have shaped strict building codes and disaster preparedness nationwide. Despite constant risk, hot springs, fertile volcanic soil, and dramatic mountain scenery support dense populations and a culture deeply attuned to nature's unpredictable power. The Pacific plate subducts beneath the Australian plate here, fueling the Taupo volcanic zone's geothermal fields, geysers, and eruptions. White Island, New Zealand's most active volcano, has erupted for thousands of years, including a fatal 2019 event. Maori communities hold deep spiritual ties to these fire mountains. Steaming vents, boiling mud pools, and sulfuric landscapes create otherworldly scenery unlike anywhere else in Oceania. Formed by a hotspot beneath the Indian Ocean's crust, Réunion's Piton de la Fournaise erupts almost yearly, often with dramatic but relatively gentle lava flows. Lush rainforests, deep volcanic calderas, and dramatic cliffs define the island's terrain. Its isolation fostered unique biodiversity, including rare birds and endemic plants. French and Creole cultures blend here, with residents and tourists often watching eruptions safely from designated viewing areas nearby. Located where the North American, Eurasian, and African plates meet, the Azores experience unusual tectonic complexity for such a small region. Volcanic craters now hold serene lakes, like Seat Sedades, contrasting sharply with the island's violent origins. Mild Atlantic climate supports lush green landscapes and dairy farming. Hydrothermal vents and hot springs reveal ongoing geological activity beneath a deceptively peaceful, pastoral island surface. Rising from a hotspot near the African plate, the Canary Islands include Mount Teide, Spain's tallest mountain and an active stratovolcano. La Palma's 2021 eruption destroyed homes and expanded the coastline with fresh lava. Arid volcanic landscapes contrast with lush laurel forests at higher elevations. Ancient Guanche heritage and modern tourism now coexist alongside an island chain still actively forming and evolving. Positioned above converging Pacific and Philippine sea plates, the Philippines hosts over 20 active volcanoes, including Taral, Main, and Pinatubo. Taral's crater lake, nestled within an older caldera, has produced sudden, unpredictable eruptions. Rich volcanic soil supports intensive agriculture despite constant risk. Filipino communities have developed strong disaster resilience, balancing daily life around some of Southeast Asia's most geologically unstable and densely populated regions. Formed by subduction beneath the South American and Scotia plates, this uninhabited British territory hosts several active volcanoes, including Mount Belinda. Extreme isolation and Antarctic-adjacent climate make scientific study exceptionally difficult and rare. Glacier-capped volcanic peaks, creating dramatic ice-fire contrasts. Penguin colonies dominate the harsh coastline, thriving despite sub-zero temperatures, proving life persists even amid Earth's most geologically volatile and inhospitable frontiers. Stretching between Alaska and Russia, the Aleutians formed as the Pacific Plate dives beneath the North American plate, fueling constant volcanic and seismic activity. Harsh subarctic weather, fog, and strong winds define this remote chain. Rich marine ecosystems support seabirds, sea otters, and fishing communities. Indigenous Anangax peoples have adapted to this volatile environment for thousands of years, maintaining deep cultural ties to these turbulent volcanic islands. Sri Lanka rests on a Precambrian continental fragment, among the oldest and most tectonically stable landmasses on Earth, far from active plate boundaries. No volcanoes or major fault lines threaten the island, resulting in minimal seismic activity. Ancient gneiss and granite formations, some over 2 billion years old, underlie its lush hills and rainforests. This stability contrasts sharply with the fiery, ever-changing islands explored throughout this journey. Located along a complex boundary of colliding plates, Papua New Guinea hosts over a dozen active volcanoes, including Tavurva within Rabaul's massive caldera. A catastrophic 1994 eruption buried the nearby town in ash, forcing permanent relocation. Dense rainforests, coral reefs, and extraordinary cultural diversity define this often overlooked nation. Despite constant volcanic threat, resilient communities continue thriving alongside some of the Pacific's most underestimated geological forces. From Iceland's rifting ridges to Tonga's roaring depths, these isolated islands prove our planet is beautifully, dangerously alive. Subscribe for more.